Hello everyone. Today we will talk about private placement. Now, first let us understand what is private placement. Private placement is a method of raising capital through sale of securities to a relatively small number of selected investors. It is used by companies when they want to raise funds and avoid regulatory requirements of public offering. The targeted investors are institutional investors and a limited number of accredited investors. The regulation is less because the scrutiny is less as compared to public offerings, and it makes it quicker and less costly process. Let us understand the process of private placement. The process starts with preparation. The objectives have to be identified to determine the funding needs and goals of private placement. Then, potential investors are identified. Generally, they are institutional or accredited investors who meet certain specific criteria. The next phase is documentation. It is divided into two different activities. Initially, offering memorandum is created, and in it detailed information about various aspects such as investment opportunity, terms of offer, risks involved, and financial information are included. Then, a contract in the form of subscription agreement is prepared and the investors would be signing it. This includes terms of investment and obligations of both parties. This is prepared at the initial stage. After that, the third stage is marketing. Here, two approaches are adopted. The first is direct approach. Here, potential investors are directly contacted, usually through private meetings and discussions instead of public advertising. Then, detailed presentations are made to potential investors to identify potential returns and the risks involved. The next stage is negotiation. In the negotiation stage, terms of sale and investor due diligence is undertaken. The terms of sale includes price, quantity of security and any special conditions which are to be specified. In the investor due diligence, the investors perform the assessment of viability and risks which are associated with any investment. The next stage is closing. This is the last stage where legal compliances are to be ensured so that the sale complies with securities regulation. Then agreements are to be executed and all parties have to sign the necessary agreements. Once agreements are signed, the funds are transferred from investor to the company and the deal is officially closed. The next stage is post sale. In the post sale, the reporting has to be done where periodic financial and operational updates have to be given to the investor. For this, communication with investors has to be maintained to build long-term relationships. Now, let us discuss the advantages of private placement. One of the biggest advantages of private placement is that it is quicker and easier and has few regulations. Further, the costs are also lower as expenses for marketing and underwriting are avoided. As we saw, in case of a public issue, these create a very huge expense for the company which is doing a IPO or an FPU. The negotiations are done directly with investors, so it can be more flexible. Let us see the disadvantages of private placement. One of the major disadvantage of private placement is that the pool of investors is limited, which affects the amount of capital raised. This might lead to lower valuations as compared to the public markets. The Companies Act 2013, when it was enacted, changed many things to prevent the misuse of private placement route by imposing stricter guidelines. Let us see the key regulations. The private placement route is limited to 200 people per financial year, and it excludes qualified institutional buyers, that is QIBs, company employees under ESOPs. Now, what does it mean? Under the private placement offer, in a year, which is a financial year in this case, a company can raise funds from a maximum of just 200 people, and this excludes qualified institutional buyers, the list which is given according to the SEBI rules and regulations, and companies employees under the ESOP schemes. Further, each company must record names of potential investors before invitations are sent. The offer letter should be personalized and directed to the individuals by name. Comprehensive records have to be maintained and have to be filed with the registrar within 30 days of offer circulation. So before the offer is circulated, this record of the particular potential investors has to be sent to the registrar of the companies. Let us see the regulations regarding payment and allotment. Regulations related to payment and allotment suggest that subscription payment must be done through check, demand draft, or other banking channels only. Payment must come from investor's bank account, and the company should maintain a record of all such accounts. The allotment of securities have to be completed within 60 days of receiving the application money, or the refund has to be given entirely. Moving ahead, let us see the prohibitions and limitations. In case of private placement, no public advertisement has to be given by using media to attract investors. Non-competitive bids shall be accepted to facilitate participation. So, this is how an alternative mechanism is used to raise funds is made available to the companies, so that they are given an alternative to the mechanism of book building. Thank you, and we will meet again.